Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Sorry, I need to be on my bed. I have a terrible, terrible backache.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lucia.
Sorry to hear that.
I can hardly walk.
Been there.
Yeah, really? What did you do to fix it?
Oh my gosh, I had to go to the chiropractor and he told me to take fish oil, drink a lot of veggie juices, and walk for 2 hours a day. But just walk.
But I think I've been doing all these. I went to a handful of chiropractors. I went to a handful of doctors. I had MRIs, and I walk. You know how I walk. I walk maybe too much, 4.5 hours a day.
Maybe you're overdoing it.
That's too much.
He told me 2 hours, no strenuous exercise, no lifting heavy things over 15 pounds. No lifting.
2 hours. 2 hours.
2 hours of walking, like 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the evening. That's it. No, nothing that's gonna heavy for your back. Nothing over 15 pounds. Fish oil. Take 2 or at least 2 fish oil a day. A lot of juice to in order to help with the inflammation. But yeah.
Thank you, Cynthia. I did find that the agenda that was I got on the website of the OAC, and then I found the agenda, but my computer wasn't responding at first, but then eventually I got it.
Okay, good.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I just can hardly get up.
So sorry, everyone. I forgot to restart my computer, so my camera is not working again, and I don't want to take time to do that now because it would end the meeting.
Shall we get started?
Do we have everyone here?
Mary Lucy's not here.
Mm-hmm. Is April here?
April is not here either.
Right. And there's Mr. Manuel's replacement.
I see him.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe well, it is 5:34, maybe just one more minute.
Thank you for your patience, Commander Wells.
This is not wine. This is red juice. This is
Right.
cranberry juice. I was just told that I need to drink a lot of juices to help my back.
Mm-hmm.
This is tea.
Okay. No.
Full disclosure.
I'm sorry.
And this is coffee.
Not on my desk. That's all. That's why I apologize. I know it's not good to having a meeting in the bed, but
that's all right. That's at least you're here. So I think we should get started just for the sake of time and formality. So we'll go ahead and formally start the September 17th OAC Oceano Advisory Committee meeting. And the first thing we have is our roll call. So I'll go down the line here. Chair Villa, myself, present. Cynthia Rapogo.
Here.
Charles Varney.
Here.
Lucia Casillanova.
Here.
I still don't know how to pronounce her name. Mary Lucy. Mary Lucy, absent. April Dury. April Dury, absent. Now that we're done with the roll call, I'll start the flag salute. Please join me. Mm-hmm. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the
to the
republic
republic for which it
which it
stands,
stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice
justice
for all.
all.
Next on agenda, we have public comment for items not on the agenda. Do we have anyone here for public comment for items not on the agenda?
No.
Doesn't
Seeing that
appear
there's-
to.
doesn't seem like there's any. We'll go on to the next item on our list here, and that's guest reports. Do we have anyone from county planning?
No.
Doesn't look like it. County code enforcement. And next we have, I know we have someone from the sheriff, Commander Wells. Welcome. Commander Wells, I think you're muted.
You're on, Commander.
Are you referring to me, Eileen?
Yes.
Yes.
My name's Greg Klingenberg. I'm with the California Highway Patrol.
Okay. So that's what I was thinking, because I was reading, I apologize, I was reading the agenda, then I'm looking at your last name. That doesn't look like Wells to me. Must be
I wasn't
somebody
sure
else.
if I couldn't see Commander Wells or not. I wasn't sure. I'm not 100% familiar with all of this Zoom stuff just yet. So
Mhm.
All
I
righty.
just I wanted to. I don't know what the correct time is. I just wanted to introduce myself as the new commander for the San Luis Obispo area.
Oh.
Oh, the whole area. Wow.
Yes, I started in April, but since I started in April, we've had, as you can understand, the COVID-19. We've had a lot of protests. We've had fires. We've had some officer-involved shooting incidents and mass shooting incidents, and I have not been able to come on just because of so much activity that we've had. So this is the first month that I've been able to be on. So I replaced Captain Mike Bueno, who retired in December. But like I said, I didn't start until April. If it is okay with the board, I'd like to be on the agenda monthly if possible. And I can give a report just based on our DUI arrests and collision activities, and then answer any questions that you may have for me each month or that the public may have for me. But again, if this is okay with you, I'd like to be on the monthly agenda.
It's okay with us. Welcome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you. I live in Oceano too, by the way.
Oh,
That's great. Chair Villa, I don't know if you can see in the participant list who has their hands raised, but Mr. Varney has his hand raised right now.
Terrell, okay, council member Varney, go ahead.
If this isn't appropriate, I don't want to upstage you here, Commander. If there's anything you want to report out, but certainly appreciate you being here, and we really welcome you. Typically, we've had one of the patrol officers from the area come in and talk with us about just kind of what's happening in Oceano. It's great you live here. You have a pretty good sense of kind of the what your lane is down there.
I do. Yeah, I do. Yes, in the past, I've had sergeants and lieutenants have come and give presentations to the various boards in the county. This is one of the changes that I'm trying to make, is that I'll be the representative for our office at each of the advisory committee meetings. I guess my intent is that behind that is that the officers and the sergeants that have responded also have other duties to be working on the road. And I feel like this makes more sense for me to be doing this type of activity versus them, they may get a call at any time, things like that. So I just, that's kind of the reasoning behind why I choose to participate in these meetings.
Yeah, well, I think that's wonderful, and that's a great model of service and connection to the communities, and even a little bunch like us. You know, some of these advisory councils are pretty small and out in the bush.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
The you know, I'll just share quickly. I was doing some political canvassing for a city council candidate, or supervisor candidate a couple of years ago, just going around, and it was asking people in the community, like, what are you upset about? And so I remember that, people driving fast on the streets, it's kind of, to some degree, in a bit kind of the off-road vehicle energy that, I mean, people racing up and down the streets, and speed on Pacific PCH, and then in particular the 30-mile-an-hour zone coming into Oceano, especially from the west. I don't know if you ever get coffee at Contessa, the new little coffee shop down there.
I do. Yeah, I do.
You park out front and you open up your side door, you're taking your life in your hands.
It's a tough place to park right there. I always wait to see if there's cars coming before I open my door.
Oh, absolutely. But even if they're coming 45, you don't have much time. So that's been a thing that we've been talking with the county about, and with the sheriff's department. And I think everybody's on the same page. It's just like, yeah, we'd like to do something, but it's kind of a challenge.
Sure. What I can do, and that's one of the primary reasons for this, is I can take a traffic complaint. We can sort of, for lack of a better term, just sort of saturate the area, and send an officer out there during various times and just see if that has some sort of effect. They'll be out there for, at various dates and times over the next, few weeks, something like that. It tends to, in all honesty, it tends to have an effect, obviously, during the time that we're there. And then it kind of creeps back up once again after a period of time. But nonetheless, it does have an effect when we're there. And I can certainly complete a traffic complaint if you'd like for this area. I think it makes sense.
What do the other council members say? Would you think that'd be a good idea?
That's a great idea.
I love it. It's a deterrent. They'll see you there.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah, that's no problem. That's something that we certainly do on a regular basis. So that's no problem at all.
How could we be of support to you?
Great question. I just honestly just appreciate your time and listening to what we have to say. I think that in a general sense, we have really good community support, and through this, honestly, since March till now, have had numerous people in various ways showing their support, even, some organizations as well. They've done things such as bringing vegetables, bringing food items. We had a couple, just a couple, a husband and wife who have kids. They brought flowers one day to the office, and then a card. And I'm certainly not asking anything like that. We never ask anything like that. And I think that to see that has been great. And so we've been doing very well. I think just for me to listen to what I have to say when I come and give a report, I think is the best thing. You're already serving the public in the capacities that each of you have by, being elected to these boards. And your service is very similar to what the same service to the public that I feel in this job. So I certainly wouldn't ask any more of you other than to just listen to my reports on a monthly basis.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
Are you an Oceano native? Were you born and raised?
No, I'm not. I was born and raised I was born in Long Beach, but I was raised in the Central Valley in a little small town called Reedley, California, just between Fresno and Visalia.
Olives.
Yeah, my career is. I went to Fresno State, graduated from Fresno State. Shortly after, I went to the Highway Patrol Academy. I spent 5 years in Los Angeles as an officer, Eastern LA County, Baldwin Park office specifically. Then I came back home and I worked for 10 years in Fresno. And then I had an administrative job at our Central Division office, also in Fresno, promoted to sergeant in 2006. And that's when I first came to the Central Coast. I worked at our Coastal Division. We have a team called the MATE team, the Multidisciplinary Accident Investigation Team. And they handle high profile, complicated incidents. And I was the supervisor for that team when I first promoted in 2006. Initially moved to Atascadero, but then I moved to the much better weather side of the grade after having lived in Fresno area for most of my life. But I moved to this side of the grade in 2010. Yeah, 2010. Moved to this side of the grade and bought a house in Oceano in 2013 and have lived there since 2013. So Central Coast since 06, but this side of the grade since 2010.
I'm glad you live here.
I am too. I love it. I absolutely love it. Wouldn't change anything other than maybe the Oceano 4th of July party near my house. I wouldn't change anything.
We would change that. I love Oceano too. The climate is really beautiful. Yes.
Yeah. So no, it's been great. I just, my wife and I go back and forth regularly. I'm sorry, I'm probably talking too much. My wife and I go back and forth regularly. I love it when the weather is like it is.
Yes.
The marine layer that comes in, it's the best thing ever. And she wants to see the sun. And I, I'm not anti-sun, but I certainly like it when the marine layer comes in, especially in the summertime when I used to work in Fresno and it was, 100 degrees and I'd be standing out in the middle of an asphalt intersection, directing traffic or investigating a collision, and just the heat was just crazy. So I welcome every day that I get to work and live here in August when it's 70. So
Yeah. Yes. Good.
Well, thank you and welcome. We look forward to having your reports on a monthly basis.
Okay, great. Yep,
And
I
you're welcome
appreciate
to
it.
stay for the remainder of the meeting if you would like.
Okay, I have to excuse myself tonight if that's okay.
You bet it is.
Fine. Thank you.
Okay, I appreciate it. Have a great night. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Does anyone have any public comment on the report?
There are no members of the public here. It's just the 4 of us on the council.
Okay.
Wow.
So next we'll go to item 4, presentations. I don't believe we have any presentations. So item 5 is review and approval of minutes. Has everyone had time to review the minutes? Take a
Yes.
couple of seconds to review the minutes and then have someone motion to approve the minutes.
I would like to move that we accept the minutes as distributed for August 2020 meeting.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye. Minutes passed and approved. Next on our agenda, we have business items. And the first item we have here are alleys.
Alice, I brought this up because if you remember, it was my interest to talk about alleys, and then we approved that letter, and I sent it to Compton finally. For some reason, and that's what's going to be discussed in the next item, I thought that we have a communication channel with Compton open, and that somebody will send her everything we talk about in our meetings, but obviously it's not. So I waited and waited and waited for this letter to be sent to her, and finally I realized that it wasn't really going unless, so I did it myself. And finally, here it is. To make a long story short, basically the alleys are not in the jurisdiction of Public Works and the county, because we had asked for them to, if it was possible, to map them, to tell us who owned them, to tell us what the use was, and who was responsible to clean them. But no, they are not responsible. And mostly the alleys are private property, and they are the private property of the adjacent properties. Mostly, in the case of Oceano, that's what Compton's office said. If I know, okay, if your alley is an easement or not, that they cannot find it out for you. You had to find it out yourself by looking at your deed. So if it is an easement, it will be written in your deed, in the title, and it will be written with whom you have the easement, with whom the agreement. It could be a public service like PG&E, or maybe trash, or it might be a private agreement with another neighbor that you have agreed, whoever had the house before you agreed that you will keep the alley for trash or for something, or for back entrance. It is in between the property owners. So the first thing that somebody has to do, like you remember, this was brought up by that resident who wanted to close the alley. And it bothered me that we didn't follow up. So that's why I was doing this. And then I tried to follow up with him personally. He never responded. To tell him that he has to look at the deed as his deed and see what the alley is for. If he owns it to the middle, if he has an easement with somebody or with a public agency. So that's where you start. And that's all there is to it. The alleys have no names, the alleys are private property, and the county doesn't want to hear anything about it. Period. The Oceano Beach Community Association is in the process of adopting the alleys for cleaning. And that's what we've been doing it. And one at a time, we will get to them all. And that's all. If you have questions or comments.
Thank you, Lucia. That was good.
I would just add, well, first of all, thank you for looking into that. Much appreciated. I'd like to add that it can be very difficult to determine not only ownership, but as well as if there are any maintenance agreements for something like that. The house that I bought has an easement for 2 landlocked houses to drive across my property to access their houses.
Yes.
And it was obvious when I bought the house, but what wasn't obvious was that there is actually a maintenance agreement for that back from the 80s. And it took my lawyer's office several hours of digging through property records to pull out the relevant documents. So I can imagine it's going to be hard for a lot of people to find those things on their own. I probably could have done it, but it would have taken me a lot more time, and it's not that easy slogging through all these old records, many of which are probably not electronic, especially if they date from decades past. So.
Yes, and in fact, when Caleb said it's up to the owner, he meant a title company. The owner should hire a title company to figure things out, right?
Well, you know, I had a title company when I bought the place and when I refinanced it, and they never pulled those documents. I don't think title companies really delve into things all that much. It's just something you pay hundreds of dollars for, and they just copy what was done the last time, as best I can tell. So, you know, I had to pay somebody on my own to find that maintenance agreement. And you know, I still don't know if there's a maintenance agreement. What I learned after I bought my house was a private road. About a block here on 24th Street is not county maintained. It's a private road, but so far as I know, there's no maintenance agreement amongst the property owners that use it to maintain it, although that could exist in the bowels of the county property record somewhere, if I ever
Sure.
have the time and money to find it.
Oh my gosh. How
Yeah.
much was it? Very expensive, Cynthia, to get the stuff that you did get?
Well, it was bundled into some other work, so I don't know exactly how much it was, but it was some hours of somebody's time who's familiar with and knows how to find things at the assessor's office. It took him some hours to dig up all that stuff.
Wow. Okay.
That's it.
Well, thank you, Ashia, for doing that.
You're
And I
welcome.
don't feel too bad about not, him not responding, because I do remember us telling him that he should first talk to the neighbors, see
Yeah.
how they felt, and then get back to us. And I don't even know if he got through the first step. Maybe that's why.
Right. Yeah,
Maybe he thought it would be a lot easier.
Yeah. I wonder what made him come to us and then disappear. Oh, well. All
Probably
right.
thought it was a lot easier. But okay. Next on our list, we have the report and communication with Compton and the county in general.
Yeah. And I also brought this up because, as I say, I even had this idea that in the old OAC, Linda Guyton was the liaison between us and Compton. I thought there was one single person who met regularly and told Compton what we were doing. But I guess, I don't know. Was it that way? Was Linda in charge of talking to Compton for the OAC?
I'm not sure, but maybe
Yeah,
that's something I
she
should be doing.
was the liaison because she's buddies with Compton. So whenever there was any issue that we wanted raised with Compton, she would be the one to talk to her about it.
Okay, so we don't have that person now, right? We don't have anybody that is specifically, and not that I advocate to have it. Actually, all I'm advocating is that, and the letter on Pier Avenue, it kind of reinforced my thinking. I think that really, without Compton, we are nowhere. We exist. I mean, she represents us at the county. So it's very important, in my opinion, that we keep very close communication with her, that she knows what we're talking about. And I would, and that we even invite her to our council meetings. I would like to send her our agenda every month with the link and the invitation to participate to our meetings. I think that would be polite, it would be politically diplomatic, and I believe people change. So even if she was difficult at times, she might have changed or she will change, but it doesn't matter. She represents us. So it's very important that she knows that we are Oceano. We are really the only voice in Oceano. So she should know. And I also believe that we should send her the minutes so that she knows what we talked about and what we discussed. Okay. Yeah.
Go ahead, Charles.
Go ahead.
So this is I agree with you, Lucia. I think reaching out to the supervisor, and there are certainly many issues that, we have that would be helpful for us to, communicate to her and have her support, and just the everyday kind of things, speeding traffic, development plans, all of that. And I think that the chair, and I don't know if we would eventually want to, memorialize this, but that this would be a presumed part of the chair's responsibilities, to be the liaison to the supervisor. And Aline's in that position now, and which I think is wonderful. I think Aline would do a fantastic job. But I think that, to kind of institutionalize that is a really good idea, and to make sure that the supervisor gets a copy of our minutes, gets the invitation to the meeting, and and just in general, and that at times a specific invitation that we would really like to share with you and invite her to come in. And I think that
Absolutely.
that would be maybe a nice fit for her to and a nice way to get things started. So
Yes.
I really appreciate you initiating that, Lucia. And we are, our meeting is being recorded. We're just not 4 people here having a conversation, part of the public record, and
Thank you
it's
for
nice to have
reminding
this
me.
on the record.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes, I think it's important. Very often when I met privately with Compton, she said, "You are not Oceano. You do not represent Oceano." Well, if she hears from us every month, she knows we are meeting, she knows what we're talking about, and we invite her, she cannot say anymore, "You don't represent Oceano." Because if we don't, who is going to? Who represents Oceano? Who? We are really the only voice of Oceano. So I think it really covers our bases, and we can always get back to her and say, well, we have invited you, we kept you informed, and you have not responded, or you have responded. So I think it's a good way to cover our bases, but it's also a good way to reach out, as you say, to just give a handout and say, we're here, and we're here to work together.
So if I may, I think we had talked about this when Austin left the council. And as I recall, Aline was going to be the liaison with Compton's office. In terms of sending the minutes, we're doing summary minutes now because the meetings are recorded. So sending
Okay.
those isn't going to provide very much information.
Well, it's still, I think symbolically, it's
Yes,
like,
symbolically.
she's in the loop.
Okay, and sending a meeting agenda and an invitation, that's fine, but I would not expect her to ever show up. I've been involved with the council for 3 years now, I think, and she has come to a meeting once during election season. That's it. I believe she attends the South County Advisory Council meetings more frequently. That's what NAPOMO calls their advisory council. But she's not interested in coming to our meetings. That said, I do think it's a good idea to extend the invitation, because then we can say, hey, we've repeatedly asked you to be here and hear what we're talking about, but you never do. So.
Right, and we do, I hear that, and we actually, in the enabling legislation that the county passed when they created the advisory councils, and if you look in our bylaws, it says specifically that we report to the Board of Supervisors. It's not just to the district supervisor that we're, of the district we're in, and that doesn't mean we don't nurture a close relationship with that supervisor, and that that supervisor would have our ear, but we do report to the supervisors as a whole, if we choose to do that, ever.
You're right. Both Lucia and Charles, you guys are so right. And Cynthia also. I need to, I remember going at least a couple of times with Lucia and at least once or twice with Cynthia through the last couple of years. And to me, she didn't seem like she was on our side, really, what we wanted, the change for Oceano. But doesn't mean that I can't do more to reach out and develop a relationship, more of a relationship with her. She probably, I don't know if she still comes here on a monthly basis, but.
Oh, do you mean for the office hour? Is that what you're thinking of? She does not come here for office hours unless somebody has scheduled her, in time to meet with her. Now that was pre-COVID too, so she's probably not doing it at all now.
Exactly.
You're right. So,
Well,
okay.
I showed up
Well-
once at the sheriff's substation during her office hour, and she wasn't
No.
there, and I
She
found
needs an
out later you
appointment.
have to pre-schedule it, or she's not normally there.
Right.
Okay.
But that
So,
makes
okay,
sense.
so for right now, just sending her, I think just sending her, all we need to consistently always send her the minutes and an invitation.
Yeah, just come
You're
up
welcome
with,
to our meeting.
come
That
up
way
with
she
a
can't say
paragraph.
that she's not invited.
Alina, just come
Uh-huh.
up with a paragraph that you paste and copy every time.
Uh-huh.
Dear Ms. Compton, we would like to invite you to our monthly meeting.
she-
Here is the info, here is the link, and here is the agenda. Hope to see you
Mhm.
there. If you have any question or comments, please email me. Just very
That's
simple.
it.
And she's going to think, oh, wow, that's something else. And we're going to do it every month. And then after that, she'll get the minutes. So she's going to hear from us. She just has got to hear from us and start trusting us and start thinking that we really mean something, that we are not just extremists who we do represent the voice in Oceano. So you're going to do it.
Yes.
Great. Should we have a motion or we can just all agree on this? Like I motion that we send the the agenda and the,
I don't think we need a motion for this.
okay.
Kind of just guidance to the chair.
I don't think so. It'll be a from now on thing. Are we done with this item now?
No, we're not. We have a really big one here. The communication from the county on the Pier Avenue parking situation in response to our letter.
Yes.
I don't know if you've all had a chance to see that.
Yeah, I
Oh,
did.
so do we want to, okay. Because I thought it was somewhere further down in the agenda that we
Well,
had.
I don't see it there, but I'm willing. I'm definitely fine to if it's some other place. But
I thought I saw it somewhere on this agenda. Maybe it was another
well,
agenda.
maybe I don't have the newest agenda.
No, maybe I saw. Maybe I'm thinking of I saw it, but maybe I was glancing at the agenda, the wrong agenda, where I remember seeing that because I don't see it. But let's talk about that.
Well, do you have an agenda that shows it, or?
No. This one,
Okay.
I think what I did was I clicked on the prior month's agenda and saw it,
Okay.
and I'm thinking it's here, but it's not here. I don't see it.
Well, if I may, Madam Chair, just take a quick lead on this, and then I'll be brief because April and I worked together on this, and she's
Okay.
not here.
Just 1 minute, Charles. When did we receive this letter from Compton office?
It was
Today.
yeah, today.
Today. Oh, okay. So I
Yeah,
got it today.
it's a very comprehensive, about a 6-page
Yes,
response.
I was impressed.
So I don't know that. I mean, I really would like April to be here when we have to have an in-depth discussion of this, and she's not. I think it looks the county has taken this seriously, and the state parks, and they have given responses. I haven't really had a chance to process the whole thing yet, but it is a wealth of information that we did not have prior to it, and I really, just for the record, want to express appreciation to April for her persistence and her research and putting this together in a way that I think really facilitated getting specific questions answered from both the state parks and the county. With that, I'll turn it over. I'll end, and would like to know what the rest of you think about the best way for us to work with this document.
So yes, we did receive it. I think I opened it up around 2 and I was like, whoa. So basically she answered every question instead of, I guess that's a way of saying, we don't need a meeting because I'm giving you all this information. So they did spend quite some time and they answered every single question. It is like a 6-page document.
Yeah. So instead of us meeting with them and state parks, her office contacted the state parks and came up because state parks answers are in the document too. So her office contacted the state park. So in a way, it's a way to kind of get rid of us, because if we had a meeting, I mean, it's a very diplomatic way of handling it on her part. Because if
it's a very smart way.
The smart way. Because if we had an in-person meeting or a Zoom meeting, it would have been very different. But she wants to keep it at this level. Still, she thinks some of our recommendations are good, but it's a long document. I glanced it over, but I need to digest it myself. I haven't really looked and thought and underlined. I like to underline things, and I haven't done that yet.
Because it's so lengthy, I think we need at least an hour to process all the answers and another hour to think of what our responses or what we want to do just to process it all. From what I read, and I read it twice, but I didn't really think about it too much because I just want to read it and read it again. It's like you said, she thinks some of our comments are good. Good recommendations. Others, it's like, this is the way it's done and it's done for this reason and there's not going to be any changes. And other questions were answered as, we'll, very, very good to recommend it. We'll look into it. But what does that mean? Look into it when? We need to come up with a response like, okay, when?
Yeah, we need to look at each item and come up with an answer. That's all we need to do. I don't know if we should do this in a meeting or we can do that. We can do this online with the Google document in which we say, well, let's address number 1, and we all kind of give a brief comment on that and say, well, okay, let's address number 2. I don't know.
I think maybe that's the best way to go about it so that we could get some response sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Yeah. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16 items. There are 16 items that we needed to look at, digest, and find a response for. Or what are we going to do about it? Are we going to push it? Are we going to say, okay? Or so?
I think that I consider this a response, and now the ball's in our court, and there's definitely, just from my quick review, there are definitely responses that I would, like us to talk about. And a lot of this is, because it's COVID, there's different kind of, stuff going on in terms of how frequently they need to sweep. And Lucia, you've documented the tons of sand that come out of there, during regular use. And so the sweeping is an issue.
It is
a maintenance issue, and having access to the street is clearly part of it. But there's some space in there for pushing for more, and particularly with our stated. Well, I don't know that we've ever stated it, but I know that the 4 council members here support closing off the beach to vehicles. And that's something down the line. But yeah, there's a lot to respond to, and we definitely would like to hear what April has to say, and we may, depending on what I would see maybe the possibility of us just scheduling a special meeting to consider this, on record, and
Yes.
not that we're constrained by the Brown Act or any of that, but to have some time, and maybe we can get that all worked out so we can take 20 minutes of our October meeting to, come up with, talk about the responses or whatever. But this is a good start. I'm impressed by the response. I think that that Lynn Compton's office leading this,
Totally.
and I actually, she went in and said, okay, let's get an answer here. And, when Lynn asked, the state parks and the county responded.
I'm very impressed myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
if
and
Lucia called up or I called up,
and about the alleys, Caleb even had a call appointment with me. We talked on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's good. It's good to have a report. I agree. We should have a special meeting. We should take some time to read every point, to write notes, to come up with our own ideas, and then have a special meeting just on this thing. Yes. Totally.
Yes, I agree. Mhm. That's part of our credibility and accountability around this too.
Yes.
Mhm.
I completely agree. And especially the last one where it says state, we need more information. I can write a whole paragraph on that one.
Yes. And what about calling the Pier Avenue a corridor? The Pier Avenue corridor. Steven, it's a corridor to the ODSVRA.
Don't you mean a dead end street?
Yeah, it's not a corridor. People live on Pier Avenue. People have businesses on Pier Avenue. It's not a corridor. We need to figure out what does corridor mean.
The corridor means it's a corridor to the beach.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly
what the beach.
That's all it is for them. That's all it is. And the county has been selling jurisdictional from Pier Avenue. Give it away to state parks. State parks dominates Pier Avenue. Yeah. All right, then let's.
I haven't heard from Cynthia.
Cynthia, you want to have the meeting?
Yeah, I wonder if it might be better to have a small subcommittee work on this rather than the whole group. I certainly don't have time for like a special meeting until after the election.
Okay. Okay.
Well, April and I have worked on it together. So we're a kind of existing subcommittee, but anybody that would like to, participate in that discussion, there's certainly, we can, and I don't, I'm just surprised April's not here tonight. I hope she's okay.
Yeah. Okay, then I'd like to participate.
So we move on?
Yeah. So did you hear what I said, Charles? I like to participate in the. Okay.
Okay.
You could send us a link to a Zoom informal Zoom meeting.
Sure.
Zoom meeting, or that's what you're going to do, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Kind of an yeah.
We will read it, and on the questions that we have, we disagree with, we have our own comments and everything already prepared.
Whoever wants can participate. It's not mandatory that the board members participate.
Correct.
Okay. Shall we move on to old business?
Yes. Okay. So we're done with that. Next on is the old business candidate forum.
What a mess.
So let me a couple of things about just kind of boundaries around this. There are certainly things that are for us to discuss on this item relevant to the Oceano Advisory Council. There may be some other topics that would be just to be conservative about it would probably be better for candidates if they were not present for the discussion.
I'm fine with that. I can leave the room. I have to leave the Zoom open because I'm recording it.
Right. Right.
But somebody could text me to come back at the appropriate point.
It shouldn't be too long.
Do you want me to go now and you can talk about whatever?
Hold on for a second. Let me,
Sure.
because I didn't really, I mean, all of the things that could possibly be discussed. Yeah, just hang around here. Let me give just sort of an update. I think pretty much, you know, everybody's been in the loop, not with every one of my communications as point person with the League of Women Voters, but you're all aware of the memorandum of understanding that you know, our chair signed. All of the and all of you are aware of the forms that went out to the candidates in terms of the process for this, and and I think all of us going into this, well, let me just speak for myself. I kind of assumed that the league would be doing a Zoom-based forum, and and that's how we entered into this. And then kind of about, I mean, we were partway through this process with them, and then they came up with this, they're contracting with a professional services to produce the forum, and there are these costs associated. And so that has introduced some awkward and kind of uncomfortable or a whole kind of different issue and into it. And it's
let me interrupt you, Charles, just for a sec.
yes.
Is Cynthia gone now?
No, Cynthia's still here.
Okay.
I see that there's a problem with.
That's what I thought, because I've seen her there, her thing.
Right.
Cynthia's still here. I just don't want you to get in any issue or anything that might jeopardize her in any way.
And I think that's about where I was going to yeah, I think this would be a good place. And then, you know, maybe we need about 5 minutes to talk about some stuff in terms of more internal processes of the forum. And
okay,
so,
I will go. I have to leave my microphone on because I'm hosting the meeting and recording, but I will go in another room, and maybe Aline, you can text me when it's time for me to come back.
All right.
thank
All
you.
right. I'll see you soon.
Okay.
Excuse me, Charles, before you go ahead, I'm sorry, I didn't understand. I had no idea. So what does it mean that it's not a Zoom anymore, but what is it going to be?
It's a professionally produced forum, like the county supervisors meetings, or like the coastal commission meetings with
So
it's very professional.
So it will still be a virtual meeting, but it's not going to be just a simple doing a link and doing that. No,
that's the links are pretty easy. I mean, it's the same principle. You just click on them. There's two of them.
Costs more. It just costs
It just
more.
costs more because
It
it's a
costs
lot more professional.
$750.
Yeah, $750. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Which they pass on to the candidates. And so, and there's one candidate that cannot afford it. And there's another candidate that has said he's probably not participating. And part of the issue has been communicating and I want to remember, we're still in a public meeting right now, okay?
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you.
so, and so the league proposed back that they pay $250 of the $750 cost. The other candidates split it among themselves. And I told them there was one person that couldn't afford it. But their proposal was that the other candidates then chip in to pay the cost for the candidate that can't do it. So I sent that information out to the candidates, and I mean, there's no reason this cannot be public knowledge, and protecting everybody's confidential anonymity. Not surprisingly, candidates wrote back to me like, well, this feels a little, I'm summarizing, paraphrasing here. This seems kind of uncomfortable, like you're asking me to help subsidize my opponent's appearance in the forum. How do I report this on my FPPC campaign requirement that I donated so much money to help another candidate attend a forum, and this all kind of goes back, I mean, to the basics that the League of Women Voters is not providing a free forum. They are now requiring candidates to pay to be on the forum, which is just creates this whole other set of issues. And this is kind of like where we're at right now, with you know, some candidates not being happy with this. The league is the fiduciary responsible party. They have the contract with the producer, but they're going to have the producer bill the candidates, and they've never done this before. So we're kind of the test case, and I don't know how we got this honor, but so consequently, it's a little difficult. It's challenging to get all of this stuff worked out. And, you know, I hope we can get it worked out, but I'm not sure. So I'm thinking about maybe that we maybe should think about a possible alternative, just so that we're kind of ahead of the curve here, that we, if this goes south, I mean, we can always cancel the forum. But I think that being in service to the community, we don't want to do that. So we probably ought to be thinking about a free one on Zoom that we ultimately end up facilitating. Which I mean, I think we can do a respectful job with that, do an objective job. We'll probably, you know, be subject to some criticism or questioning, but in the face of like either candidates having to pay or we do it free as a service to the community, with I think we would need to get somebody that has great experience running Zoom meetings. We would need to have somebody dedicated to timing the answers of the respondents, of the candidates to the questions. We need to put together a set of very fair, objective questions that are not biased, that stay within the lane of what the OCSD can do, and solicit questions from all of the candidates, and then come up with a set of questions. And if we go that direction, then I would advocate that we distribute the questions. Like, let's say we have 6 or 7 questions, we distribute those questions exactly as we would ask them to every one of the candidates. So there's no question about bias or whatever, and everybody will have their 2 minutes to answer the question. This is a backup plan. I'm just not sure that this is going to go forward, you know, with them. I think it's really, I think in a way it's very inappropriate for them to be charging money for it. I mean, they should be a community service, but this is the issue. They don't have the technology. So they've kind of gone to the Cadillac. I mean, I know a guy who's really good at running Zoom meetings, and they do it for $50 or $100, and you know, we have a budget, and then we would pay them out of that to produce the meeting. They're not in charge. Aline would still be leading the meeting. She would be asking the questions. We would need to have somebody, you know, other than any of us, recruit somebody to be the timer, you know, that you give them they give them 2 minutes to answer a question, give them a warning at 1:30 seconds, another warning at 15 seconds, and then stop, you know. And if they don't stop, then Aline comes in and like pounds the gavel or whatever. I mean, but we can work that out. I mean, you know, and so it's not a full-on professional production, but it serves its purpose. It gives the people of Oceano an opportunity to see the candidates for OCSD. I'm not advocating for that. I'd rather not do it. I don't have a lot of time, you know, but I don't want to be stuck with these people as like we got to go with them. Hopefully it'll all work out. I don't know.
Thank you, Charles. I agree with you.
Thank you.
Do the best you can, and then we just do it ourselves. I think we are grown-ups and adults, and we can do it. If we really want to do it as a backup planner. I agree. We can do it.
What do you think, Aline?
I think we can do it also. I hope that we don't have to resort to it though, because I think it would, it doesn't look too good. You know, we've already said the League of Women and got people, talk to people, but if it has to be, if it can't happen, you know, then we'll have a backup plan.
Right.
It's always good to have a backup plan.
Well, and you know, I mean, the explanation would be simply that, you know, the $750 charge just created too many complications and potential conflicts of interest, and ultimately we or the candidates were not comfortable. We and some of, or you know, the candidates weren't comfortable with it.
A lot of money for a Zoom meeting.
Yeah. So,
Well, was it going to be a Zoom meeting, Lucia? That's why it was more expensive. It's like a professional video.
It's gonna be a virtual meeting. Yeah, it's not going to be a Zoom meeting. It's going to be a professionally.
a virtual meeting, no, another.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Virtual.
so a kind of last question for you two. Are you, how are you feeling about my keeping you in the loop and communicating with you? Do you have any feedback for me in terms of this process?
No.
No, I feel comfortable. I feel comfortable. You've been
Okay.
doing good.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All righty. We can bring Cynthia back in. I mean, that's kind of my report to you. I'll keep you updated on it, and I'm in correspondence. I'm waiting to get a response back from them.
I just texted her. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get back to where, can you see me? No?
I can't see you right now.
Okay. She's coming back. I just got a text. Now I got to find how to find but I'm here.
You go down to your bottom right, you see a Zoom camera down there. That might be, click on that down on your bottom of your screen, at least on the bottom of my screen. Maybe it's at your top.
Okay, I'm back. Looks like we lost Lucia.
Lucia, you there?
She might have
No, she wasn't feeling well.
no, I don't think she's back.
Oh, okay.
Aline's trying to find her way back. There she is.
Okay, there I am. Lucia's just muted. I see her.
I'm here.
Okay, so are we done discussing the candidate forum? I think so.
Yeah, yeah.
Next on our list, we talked about downsizing the box, and we decided not to because we wanted to receive all the documents for the election and all that, just in case someone sends them to the post office that we have. We want everything to be sent there, so we're not doing the downsizing because of that till after the election. The cannabis tax income in Oceano, I really want to find out what that is, even though we probably won't, we don't have access to that money, but I would like to know what it is. I just haven't had time. Have had a lot of personal issues, as many of you know, as most of you know. And Otis VRA Coastal Commission updates. So Shia, would you like to talk about any of that?
Yes. Well, basically, I just reviewed the documents today. In the cease and desist letter that Commission sent to state parks to desist from harassing the poor and bulldozing the sand. And then state parks answered, and they had an understanding. The cease and desist letter didn't really happen. It was kind of a warning. Instead, they made an agreement that the state parks would end all the activities, so there was no any legal anything. But they agreed. They agreed that those limitations would be in place until the end of September, which I assume means October 1st. Okay, that's what the document said, the end of September. So the gates will be closed and the beach will be closed to driving, and the ODSVRA campground will be closed at least until October 1st, according to this understanding between them. On top of that, the document also calls for a meeting between the two agencies when the time comes, so that they will decide on the modality of reopening. A reopening which might include adjustments in terms of numbers, more limitations, and schedules. So there is really a pretty big window there that leaves us hope that things will not go back to the same way they exactly were before the closure. I haven't heard, I sent out today to the Dunes Alliance a message. I haven't heard of any such meeting being taking place or even being spoken of. But it should happen, because if the closure order ends September and end of September, this meeting between the two agencies should happen soon on discussing how to reopen it, if it reopens. The Oceano Beach Community Association, maybe that's not right now.
Not at this time.
Huh?
That's further down.
Yeah, that's further down. So, but state parks, okay, is going to reopen the Oceano campground on Pier Avenue and the North Beach campground of Highway 1 in Pismo. It's going to reopen on Monday with a limited capacity, not full blown, but they will reopen on Monday. However, the press release does not mention driving on the beach nor the ODSVRA campground. As far as we know, they are still closed. That's it.
Thank you, Ashia.
Oh, another. We got a rumor, or actually somebody, Lisa Betro, the one who's in charge of, he is one of the directors of the public work plan. She actually told somebody that the draft, which was the draft of the plan, which was to be handed to the Coastal Commission and discussed by the Coastal Commission on a special meeting October 15th. It didn't get done yet, really. It's delayed. So we don't know even if the Coastal Commission special meeting of the 15th is going to happen. Thus, that plan.
Okay.
I think that I'm not sure that you mentioned this, Lucia, that the presentation by I don't know if it's the OBCA at the Coastal Commission. The vision statement was very impressive. And I've gotten a lot of great feedback from people around that were watching it. In fact, called me up and said, we want to know how to do that ourselves because we want to put together something. Yeah, it was.
Well, Alina said that goes at the bottom of, that goes in another moment of the agenda on the OBCA report.
Yeah, okay.
We can talk about that.
I'm sorry. I jumped ahead.
Yeah.
Apologies. Okay.
You're muted, Alina. You're muted.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my phone moved because I do at my computer. I don't have a computer. I have just a phone that I use. So we got the next on our list, the curb gutter sidewalk committee. I think we set that committee aside. And next we got vacation rental density restrictions for Oceano. I think Charles reports on that.
Yeah, I've got an idea on this. I mean, this is such a huge issue around the county. And it really impacts our community. I learned, I don't know if it was Lucia told me or who, but that they were canvassing in the like Duna Vista, the mobile home units all on the, the south side of Highway 1, out my way, and that there's a whole lot of those that are vacation rentals.
Yes.
I wasn't aware of that. And other communities are addressing this and upset about it because of its economic impacts on working class families, on the cost of rentals, on the availability of rentals, and the really destruction of kind of neighborhood life in some areas where it's like when you get up to where like a third of the households in your neighborhood are vacation rentals or half of them are. And of course it depends on the community, and none of the communities are dealing with an off-road population, off-roaders population of, with vacation rentals. But I think we've seen, and all of us are pretty much walking the beach south of Pier Avenue, and you see all of the people coming out of those vacation rental homes along the Strand, they're out on the beach. They're regular kind of beach goers. And I think that's, for all of us, has given us more of a vision of like, well, if we didn't have the off-road vehicles there, those vacation rentals would be filled with people that loved the beach, but there would be a lot of people there. But in the long term, I believe it's in our community's interest, like it is in the interest of Morro Bay community, Cambria community, Pismo Beach community, Grover Beach community, everybody that's putting limits on and restrictions and trying to contain us just becoming a place where hedge funds buy up vacant homes for whatever amount of money they, want to pay, and turn them into vacation rentals to make a lot of money on them, and they really don't care about our neighborhoods. That a clear statement would be for us to recommend a moratorium on any more vacation rentals east and north of Highway 1. I mean, that's kind of drawing a line in the sand. It's most of the vacation rentals are, either, and I mean, how it curves is why I'm saying either west or south of Pacific Coast Highway. When it comes in, it makes the big curve at Quintessa, and of course we have no authority to do that, but more as kind of a statement of policy and a statement of concern. And the way that would manifest is that we would go on record opposing any proposal for any vacation rental that would be on that side of the highway. And I know that personally, I plan to take a stand of opposing any new vacation rentals until we have in place a set of guidelines and management for vacation rentals that go beyond anything that we have now, because I think it really it challenges the character of our community. And on the other hand, it's a potentially green sort of business for tourism. And once, if we ever achieve our goal of a vehicle-free beach and dunes, then Oceano Beach is going to become a place where people want to come and spend time and go out to dinner and have a cup of coffee or hang out. And and that will provide a lot of probably occupation or jobs for people. Anyway, I'm going on too long here, but that's what I have to say about it. And I don't have anything formal to bring to you tonight, but maybe you all can think about how you feel about something like that, taking a stand like that on it, and then we can put something together. So I would appreciate just maybe a quick go around on that in terms of how people feel about it.
Yeah, I fully support that, and I'd suggest maybe we put that on an upcoming meeting agenda to talk about recommending a moratorium on new vacation rentals on the beach side of Highway 1.
How about I'll put together some draft language and send it around for us all to look at to kind of start the discussion among ourselves.
Totally.
Sounds good, Charles.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right.
I want to make 2 comments. Of course, I fully support what you're saying, Charles. Number one, I am sorry. I must have said the wrong thing. I told you when I was working for the census and I visited the trailer courts.
That's right. Yes. Yes.
They are vacation homes, not vacation rentals necessarily.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I don't know if they rent them out, but 50% of those trailer courts, like I know for sure, the manager told me, the one where the coffee rice house is, 50% is a vacation home.
Okay. Well, it isn't a big jump from a vacation home
exactly
to a vacation rental for the 10 months that you're not there.
Exactly. Then I wanted to ask this other question. What's the difference between a vacation rental and a bed and breakfast? Is there a difference?
That's a very good question, Lucia.
Yeah.
And I think it really depends on the jurisdiction and how people define it. As I understand it, a B&B is basically in your house or on your property where you're there. A vacation rental is it's rented out for a week at a time or 2 weeks at a time or whatever. And you're not there.
So do we wanted to put a moratorium on both of those, or just on, because the bed and breakfast was done, there is such a thing in Italy, Europe had the bed and breakfast for 100 years to help out families who have an extra room.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's a good thing. Now in Italy, even if you feed people, you can get a tax deduction. Just people can come and eat at your house.
Right. And so that's, I think, why B&Bs are more, have less impacts, because it's the homeowner is there. Obviously they care about their property. They want to, and they make a little extra money on the side. And that's a good way for people to make some extra.
So we want to make sure that we specify vacation rentals. Yes.
I would suggest looking at how that's defined right now, because there are permitting requirements that the county has. So they have probably defined the terms, and we should use the same language that the existing ordinances use.
Yes, we do not have to reinvent the wheel on this. There are lots of communities all over the coast are struggling with this. And it's kind of the same set of issues. And so this is really a matter you know, somebody having the time to really drill down into it. I mean, exactly the way April drilled down into, you know, street sweeping on Pier Avenue and parking on Pier Avenue. And, you know, I was writing to somebody today, I said, you know, I look forward to when I have time to, you know, spend more time to have, you know, more availability to work in my community. You know, right now until November 3rd, I'm just, you know, I don't have any bandwidth for, you know, to take on something like this in terms of, and I totally agree with Cynthia, you know, we need to do our homework and have something behind that. Just, we need to say more than just like, okay, you know, on that side of Highway 1, no more vacation rentals. We need to context it and put in supporting arguments and other, you know, model kind of ordinances and things that people are doing, to where we can get to, you know, make a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors and to our supervisor, and a letter to the Oceano Community Services District, I think, as well, because it definitely has a nexus with provision of services. I mean, water, sewer, intensity of use on streets, and then also transient occupancy, you know, taxes and monies that come into Oceano, generated in Oceano, that flow to the county and we don't see them, or they flow to people way outside that are making a profit off of us like we're a third world community.
I completely agree with you, Charles, that we need to do the research, and hopefully you can come up with something soon, put it on the agenda further down the road, like Cynthia said, and it'll give us time to think about exactly what we want, how we feel. I know that we need to have limits, and we don't need vacation rentals increasing rents and property values in this area, which are already are just out of hand. I just pricing everybody out. It seems like I'm the reason I live here is because I've been here my whole life, but otherwise I don't think I could afford to. I know I couldn't afford to rent here for sure.
Yeah.
Are we done discussing this item?
Yes, I think so. I am.
Alrighty. Next on our list here, let's see. We have local accessory dwelling units. I think we spoke about that last meeting.
Yeah.
I wonder if we can take that off because the county's enacted something, right?
Right. The county's in control of that, and it's it was, you know, really we could kind of just stick it underneath curb gutter sidewalk, because in part I remember bringing it up that I mean, basically, personally I'm in favor of this ADU capacity for people to do a little, you know, studio thing on their apartment for family members, or maybe it's going to be their little B&B and the way they supplement their income or whatever. But I brought it up in the context of the requirement that we have in Oceano, that if you want to improve your property, you have to put in curb gutter and sidewalk, and that people, if, you know, their ADU is going to cost them, let's say, $20,000 to bring in, maybe they have a prefab thing that meets all the county standards, 20,000, 30,000 for that, let's say, and then the curb gutter and sidewalks going to cost them $15,000, makes it really hard. So that was kind of one of the things I was most concerned about there. So I think I agree with Cynthia that this is totally within the county's authority. The laws are in place, and but that curb gutter sidewalk thing would be a way to maybe facilitate that for local people that, you know, don't have as much money to spend on it.
Okay, so we can take it off.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Next on our list here, we have council member and officer reports. Charles Varney with the treasury report.
Didn't I say last month, like I've got too darn many things on here? So, we only have one expenditure, and that was for $177. And that was to reimburse Becca Venturini for her fronting the money for our website and our our server. And that was absolutely perfectly legitimate. She waited many months to get that reimbursement because we were in the process of switching bank accounts, and so that bill was due and paid, and currently we have a balance of about $762. It may be time to, after the election, to look at applying for another county grant for helping, they have this little like Lincoln, or we've gotten grants from Lincoln, from Adam Hill. There's money set aside for advisory councils to help us not provide food and drink for our meetings, but to pay for websites, and like in this case, if we need to hire somebody to facilitate a Zoom meeting or a public forum, to be able to pay $50 or $75, or have a budget to support that. So we're not doing that out of our own pockets.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have the OBCA report. Lucia?
Yes, as Charles was saying, the OBCA team, there were 7 of us. We presented the Oceano Beach Community Association's vision for what we think Oceano Beach and the dunes should look like in the future, because that State Parks is working on the public work plan. So this was like our own plan, what we would like to see instead of what's happening right now, what has been happening right now. It was very successful, I think. And now we're going to present it to the county. As soon as Bonnie comes home, she's out of town. As soon as she comes home, we're gonna get the team back together, and we're gonna take it to the county, because many of the issues that we raised in that presentation have to do with parking, have to do with the use of the land. So we really need the county to hear it. The next thing is the Oceano Beach Community Association has been involved with the Dunes Alliance. The Dunes Alliance has a campaign now. It's called the People for the Dunes. It's a website, is a campaign for advertising our vision, not just the vision of the OBCA, but the vision of the Dunes Alliance. So check it out. It's People for the Dunes. And then the Oceano Beach Community Association is going to have a coastal cleanup. I think it's this Saturday, Aline, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this Saturday we're gonna informally meet. We shouldn't gather. We're gonna keep the 6 feet distance. Bring your mask. We're gonna be at the Oceano Lagoon. Bring your own supplies. We might have some spare bags, some spare gloves. We are doing with Eco's Law. We will keep track of the trash collected and send it off. Basically, I understand that that's the only difference we do with Eco's Law or doing it on our own, that we keep track of the trash. And to tell you the truth, today I attended the Ocean Protection Council, and the last item on the agenda was trash, and they used the data from the coastal cleanups throughout the years to document the amount of trash that is being collected. So it is valuable. it is valuable that we keep track of the trash that we collect, because the statistics and the numbers can help move politicians and agencies to make some decisions. So meet at 10 o'clock, come at 10 o'clock at the Oceano Lagoon for the September coastal cleanup. That's all.
I would love to be there. I'm staffing the Democratic Party office on the weekends, so it's open for people to come in, and I have to open it up at 10 a.m. in the morning. But thank you so much. And it's in the lagoon by the park and stuff.
There, yes. We meet at the lagoon where the picnic tables are, but
Yeah.
then we'll right out.
Okay. That's the last time I participated in a cleanup, I think, was down there.
With Cynthia.
No, I saw you and your girlfriend. It was on Peel Avenue, and we
That's
were
right.
we were at the nature center. Remember?
Right. Lynn Compton was there.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So does anyone remember, I think we had a limit on the meeting of an hour and a half, or we would vote to extend
Oh,
it?
we're 2 minutes over.
It's over.
Okay, let's move on.
Let's move on, and I will
Aline,
my
your
report.
report.
as brief as possible. Okay, I'm reporting on the Oceano Community Service District, and we had 2 meetings. One was August 26th that we had one, and at that meeting, the gist of it was that we approved the final budget, and for the final budget, we're going to be beginning with $2,740,216, and it's estimated at the end we will have $2,370,840,000. $840. I'm sorry, and the main thing about it is that we had approved the preliminary budget back in June. So this is just basically the final budget, and there's minor differences in it, and just some encumbrances that we had, and also because of what we did with the water increase, the change that how it's going to affect it. So the main thing about it is that most of the funds, except for 3 of them, are going to be significantly, decreased. The 3 ones that are going to be decreased are the general fund by $91,328. Then that is due to the fire tax not passing. And then the other one is the water fund, and it'll be decreased by $255,313, and that is due to the fact that we weren't charging enough for water services. After the 3rd year, because you know how we spoke about how it's going to be 10%, 10%, 13, that we decided to stagger the increase instead of doing it all at once. So about the 3rd year, we should not be decreasing. We should be making a profit there. Garbage fund decreased 45,619, and that was due to the resolution that we passed to give our residents a little break, and we decreased it, I believe, by 5%. And we also just gave the general manager direction on applying for an awesome grant by the Integrated Waste Management Authority Technical Assistant Grant Program is called. And what that's going to do, it's going to, if we receive it, we get $10,000 from them, and then we put $10,000 from our own money, and we get to have water stations and also new recycling bins. The details on them, we don't have those ironed out yet. We're hoping to get the grant, and if we do, we decided because of the community poll that was taken. Thank you, Council Member Rapolgo there for doing she did a reach out to the community, and I think more than half, about 60% wanted the water, and 40% wanted the new recycling bin. So we decided to do, we're going to have half and half. Going back on the budget, I want to make sure that you understand that it was passed. There was one dissenting vote, and that was by Director Rapogo. And her reasoning for that was that she didn't think it was physically responsible, and that the voters, it wasn't the will of the voters due to the fire, you know, that we still kept service with Vice-City's fire authority. So that was that one. And then the second meeting, which we had on September 9th, we passed the resolution to go to district, from at-large to district elections. This will happen in 2022, so we don't have to worry about it yet. We did pass the resolution and gave the manager the authority to start looking into finding someone. And right now I'm drawing a blank on what he called surveyor, or what you call the person.
Demographer.
Yes, demographer. To start looking into that, because he's afraid that if we wait till after the census that everyone's going to be looking for one, and we're going to have a harder time. So the district decided to go this route because basically it's the only way to avoid a lawsuit. And going, you know, any other options would be too expensive and would not give us safe harbor. So, also I wanted to mention that at that meeting, we had another report from the Front Street pedestrian project, and I really liked it because it gave more detail. So on how it's going to look, and it looked really nice. How they're going to cut off the sidewalk there on 15th. You have to see it for yourself. If you go on to the minutes there, the agenda for that day, you'll see it. It's really nice. There was a couple of pictures there that gave more detail. So I think that's about it.
Okay. Thank you.
And next on our agenda, we have discussion items for next agenda, notices, correspondence. I think we discussed the correspondence from Lynn's office.
Right, yeah.
So the only thing I have for a future agenda is the moratorium on vacation rentals.
Right, and that'll be, the vacation rental, that's old business, so it's there.
Yeah, I'll just add it on to that item.
And the Peel Avenue, and the response on the Peel Avenue on the parking issue.
Is that going to be on the next agenda, or?
Yeah, well, let's definitely have the discussion on that.
Yeah, a little update if we don't get it resolved.
Yeah, let's
by
add
then.
Pier Avenue onto our old business list.
Oh, because we can't wait too long to respond to the letter. I mean,
No.
Right. No.
so,
Well, we're gonna meet and talk about that before.
okay.
I have one. I think that our bylaws allow us to dismiss a member for lack of attendance. This is I think this is the second or third meeting in a row that Council Member Lucy has not been here.
It's at least the second. I'm not sure if it's the third.
Second in a row.
And
Yeah,
I
go
think
back
it's
and
like,
look.
and that's the trigger is 2 in a row. So I think it would be appropriate to send her a letter that indicating that if she is, you know, well, I don't know how to put this off the top of my head, but, you know, based on our you know, bylaws that, you know, somebody that doesn't attend two meetings with no, you know, notification or communication, and maybe somebody's had some, I haven't, that there's, you know, that we have the right to dismiss that person and give them fair notice that if they do not attend or explain the situation, that we will vacate their seat.
So this is for the next agenda to discuss?
No, I guess I'm bringing it up now because I was, you know, I don't know where else to bring it up.
If we want to talk about it when it wasn't on the agenda and we're already over time, somebody should move to extend the meeting.
Okay, I'd like to move to extend the meeting for 5 minutes.
Okay,
Second.
I second.
Um,
5 minutes.
Do you have a sense of how to proceed on this, Cynthia?
I don't, not without reviewing the bylaws.
Okay.
Are we going to vote on that motion to extend?
Sorry. All
Can
in
we
favor,
vote?
say aye.
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 No. Sorry, I've got other things to do.
We
Let's
outvoted,
make this quick.
so it's tough. I think that no, I'm not saying this is an item for the next agenda, but it's yes, the item for the next agenda will be vacating the seat of non-attending council member.
Okay, and I will reach out to her. I did reach out to her once or twice. I know for certain once. I could have been 2 emails the same day. I forget. I think it was 2 emails. But I did reach out to her. She somehow had seemed very, she seemed upset with some of the comments, some of my comments, and I thought I had straightened it out. I don't know if that's the reason, but I will reach out to her again and see if she still wants to remain part of the council.
Well, and yes, and then she needs to attend. I did get a note from her regarding whether there was going to be Spanish translation for the forum, which I responded to her that no, there will not be Spanish translation provided, at least in the current arrangement with the League of Women Voters.
Okay, so I will reach out to her and we'll discuss it next week.
Okay, all right.
So I'm gonna,
I have.
we have motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Second.
All in
All in
favor?
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, so I want to meet
Aye.
longer and see all of you, but okay, I'm outvoted.
Bye.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Great.
Bye. Bye, Cynthia.
Okay, thanks, Aline. Thanks, Lucia.
Thanks, Charles. You're great.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
I'll be in touch with you guys.
Yes,
Yeah.
keep in touch.
Pardon me.
Bye.
Bye-bye.